Snow had been falling since noon in Columbus, Ohio, the quiet kind that didn't rush or shout, but waited, layer after layer, until the streets surrendered. By 6 in the evening, the road outside Miller's Auto Repair was nearly empty, the orange streetlights glowing like tired guardians over slush-covered asphalt. Inside the garage, the last customer had left an hour ago. Even Miller wiped grease from his knuckles and glanced at the wall clock. शाम के 7 बजने में 18 मिनट बाकी. Christmas Eve. Most mechanics would have already locked up. Most people had somewhere to be, families, dinners, warmth. Even had none of those waiting. Just habit. He shut down one bay light. Then paused. His father's voice, uninvited and familiar, rose in his mind. You're done, leave until the work is done. Even if no one's watching. His dad had died 10 years earlier, heart attack right there in a garage in Dayton. The man had worked himself into the ground fixing other people's problems. Even had sworn he wouldn't do the same. Yet here he was, still standing in the cold, oil-stained floor beneath his boots, radio humming a worn-out version of I'll Be Home for Christmas. He reached for his jacket. That was when he heard it. A sound out of place. A cough, a sputter, then silence. Even turned toward the frosted window just in time to see a black SUV drift into the parking lot, its hazard lights blinking weakly, like the car itself was apologizing for the inconvenience. The engine died. The driver's door opened slowly. A woman stepped out, pulling a thin coat around herself. Snow clung to her hair. She stood still for a moment, as if bracing herself before walking toward the garage door. Even sighed, not with annoyance, but resignation. He opened the door before she could knock. I knew you're closed, she said quickly, words tumbling over each other. I saw the lights and my car lost power 2 blocks away. I've got my kids with me. I can wait if you need to leave, She stopped talking when she noticed his hands. Grease-stained, cracked, cold. Even studied her instead. She didn't look reckless, or untitled. She looked tired, the kind of tired that came from carrying too much alone. Her eyes kept flicking back to the SUV, to the silhouettes of 2 small heads in the back seat. How old? Even asked. 7 and 9, she replied. They're trying not to cry. That settled it. Pull it into bay too, Even said. Her shoulders sagged with relief. Thank you so much. He waved it off like it was nothing. But inside, he already knew it wasn't nothing. The alternator belt was shredded. The battery barely held a charge. The cold had finished what Ware had started. Even leaned back on his heels, breath fogging the air. Any shop would have said no. Parts stores were closed. It was Christmas Eve. Even if they went, the alternator model wasn't common. Telling her to come back Monday would have been easy. Justifiable, sensible. He walked out to the parking lot and glanced at the SUV. The kids were wrapped in blankets now. One of them had drawn a crooked star on the fogged-up window. Even felt that familiar pull, the one that had followed him his entire life. Not guilt, not obligation, habit. He walked to his own truck parked behind the shop. Opened the hood, stared at the engine for a long moment. Then he sighed and grabbed his tools. An hour passed, his fingers burned from the cold. A bolt slipped, cutting his knuckle. Blood mixed with grease. The radio switched to static. Inside the waiting area, the woman sat stiffly, phone pressed to her ear. Yes, Mom, we're okay, she whispered. No, I don't know how long. I'll let you know. She hung up and looked at Even through the glass. You're done, have to do this, she said when he came inside to warm his hands. Really, I don't want to ruin your Christmas. Even shrugged. You're not. She studied him, puzzled. Don't you have somewhere to be? He hesitated. Not really, he said. That was the truth. When he finally tightened the last bolt, his hands were numb. Even climbed into the driver's seat and turned the key. For half a second, nothing happened. Then the engine came alive, strong, steady, warm. The garage filled with sound. Outside, the kids started clapping. Even smiled before he could stop himself. The woman covered her mouth. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I thought I didn't know what I was going to do. Even printed the bill, charged her the minimum. She stared at the paper. This isn't enough. It's fine. She pulled out her card anyway. Then paused. Can I at least know your name? Even. She nodded slowly, as if committing it to memory. I'm Rachel. She gathered her kids, thanked him again, too many times, and drove off into the falling snow. Even watched the taillights disappear. He locked up the garage in silence. He didn't know her title. Didn't know her bank account. Didn't know that her company employed over 40,000 people. All he knew was this. He had done what he always did. And sometimes, that's enough to change everything. 6 months later, summer heat shimmered over Columbus, Ohio, bending the air above cracked pavement and boarded up storefronts. Even Mila stood in line at the unemployment office, number 147 clenched in his fist. He hated this place, not because of the people, but because of the silence. Everyone here avoided eye contact, like hope itself was contagious and dangerous. Even stared at the scuffed floor and thought about how fast things could fall apart. The garage had shut down without warning. Owner retired, building sold, no severance, no notice. Good habits didn't protect you from everything. Even sold his motorcycle, then his tools, one by one. The expensive ones first, the ones his father had given him last. Still, he didn't quit fixing cars. He worked out of his driveway now. A cardboard sign read, "Honest mechanic, cash only." Neighbors came, single moms, delivery drivers, college kids with dying engines and no money. Even charged what they could afford. Sometimes nothing, because habit doesn't ask for permission. That afternoon, Evan was elbow deep in an old Honda when a familiar engine sound rolled up the street. Low, smooth, expensive. He looked up. A black SUV turned the corner and stopped in front of his house. For a second, Evan didn't recognize the woman stepping out, until she smiled. The smile, Christmas Eve, flashed through his mind like a photograph. "You're probably Don T. Remember me?" she said. Evan wiped his hands on his jeans, heart thudding. "I do." She laughed softly, surprised and pleased. "You fixed my car." "Snowstorm, 2 kids, alternator," Evan said automatically. Her eyebrows rose. "You even remember the problem." "I remember the night." She nodded. "So do I." She extended her hand. "Rachel Carter." Evan shook it, then froze when the name landed. Rachel Carter, CEO, Logistics Empire, magazine covers, fortune lists. He swallowed. "You, from Carter Freight?" "From," she smiled, and still very much in. Evan glanced at his driveway. The oil stains, the borrowed jack, the half-fixed Honda. "Oh," he said. Rachel followed his gaze and didn't flinch. Instead, her expression softened. "You stayed open for us," she said quietly. "You didn't know who I was. You didn't ask. You didn't even complain." Evan shrugged, uncomfortable. It was Christmas. That's exactly why it mattered. She opened the SUV trunk and lifted out a leather folder. "May I?" she asked. Evan hesitated, then nodded. Inside were documents, official, stamped, serious. Rachel spoke carefully, like someone who understood how fragile pride could be. "My company studies patterns, habits. We can predict breakdowns, delays, failures, because everything runs on repeated behavior." She met his eyes. "People do too." She pointed to the first page. A fully funded master mechanic certification. Tuition paid, tools included. The next page. A 3-year commercial lease, below market rate. Third page. A startup grant large enough to make Evan dizzy. "No equity," Rachel said quickly. "No control, no obligation." Evan's hands trembled. "Why?" Rachel closed the folder gently. "Because you didn't just fix my car," she said. "You protected my kids' Christmas. And you did it out of habit, not hope of reward." She stepped closer. "I want more people like you in the world. The fastest way to do that is to make sure you don't disappear." Evan tried to speak. Failed. "I don't need charity," he finally said. Rachel nodded. "Good. Neither do I. This is an investment." She smiled. Inconsistency. 3 months later, Mila Auto or Rescue opened on a corner lot near the highway. The sign wasn't flashy, just honest. Evan hired 2 mechanics who'd been turned away elsewhere, one with a criminal record, one with a newborn at home. He paid them fairly, taught them what his father had taught him. "Do it right," he said. Even when no one's watching. On Christmas Eve, 1 year later, the shop stayed open late. A broken down sedan pulled in. A family inside. Snow falling. Evan didn't even look at the clock. Across town, Rachel Carter watched the city lights from her office window, a quiet smile on her face. Some systems ran on money. Others ran on habit. And the strongest ones, they lasted forever.